Hey, how's it going, friends? Thank you for tuning in to VR Revelations. Welcome. So, Donald Trump just got indicted once again for the fourth time, this time in Georgia, and it's all pretty much related to the 2020 election and Donald Trump's denial uh, of a loss and of Joe Biden's victory, and also his attempts to pretty much overturn the election because he believes that it was rigged, right? He believes that it was all a sham, uh, therefore implying that the U.S. is the most corrupt country in the world because it's supposed to be the most just country in the world. But if it's corrupted to this level that he states, then it's pretty much the worst country in the world, right? The most corrupted. Now, you have to think about how, insane this allegation is. Now, if you come here to hear pro Trump talk or, pro Democratic talk, then you're at the wrong place. I'm neither for Democrats nor Republicans. I believe that all governments on this planet are corrupt, and I believe that all political parties are corrupt before God. So there you have it. But it is very interesting what is taking place, right? This infighting, this sort of civil conflict between these political parties, and just how faithfully blind its adherents or supporters are to either party, right? And how much joy they take in seeing each other's political losses. Right now, I got to say the Republicans look like they're on the losing end. The Democrats, are launching a whole bunch of indictments on Donald Trump. Is he going to go to jail? Maybe. Apparently, if even one of these goes through, it might spell some jail time for Donald Trump. But one of the most obvious repercussions of this is that he's going to be caught up in all of this, in this whole process of going to the courts and appearances and all of this and defending himself. So it's definitely going to impact his campaign. But as the Republicans have noted, his poll numbers are actually jumping up because his supporters, grow even more supportive of him as these indictments come through. And so, it's very interesting how that dynamic is working, right? There's sort of, they continue this narrative of a witch hunt against Donald Trump. And so his base is growing ever stronger before him. So I think it's pretty obvious that he's going to be the candidate for the Republican Party. Of course, you have Ron DeSantis in the mix, and these other, these other politicians. But I think it's to nobody's surprise that he's leading in the polls and that he's probably going to be the candidate. Of course, there's this whole thing where, how can that be possible when he's being indicted and could possibly go to jail? There's talk about him becoming president and possibly pardoning himself. I don't even know how that would work. But anyways, that's just a bunch of nonsense. Essentially, what the way this is going to affect him the most is that it's not going to allow him to campaign around freely because he's going to be stuck in the courts. And, that's going to weigh on him and it's going to stress him out. So it's definitely, a huge attack by the Democrats on his campaign. On top of that, he could really go to jail if he is found guilty in any of these indictments and all the counts. He's pretty much being accused of conspiracy in all manner of ways, of trying to overturn the election in 2020. And, in this Georgia indictment, which I was watching live just a couple of minutes ago, he actually has to present himself by August 25th, or he could risk being arrested, right? And it's not just him, it's a couple of other people. Most of his strongest supporters like Rudy Giuliani and Mark Meadows. Surprisingly, Lindsey Graham wasn't on that one, even though he was, meddling there in Georgia, trying to get the votes overturned to President Donald Trump. But Lindsey Graham is a double-faced, slippery snake. So who knows what's going on behind the scenes? Who knows how he got out of this one? But yeah, this has got to be very stressful for Donald Trump. It's definitely going to affect his campaign. Will it affect his position in the Republican rankings? No, this is only going to bolster his position. It's only going to make him more popular amongst his already fervent supporters. Is it going to draw any Democrats over to his side? Probably not. It's having the same effect for both sides, right? The Democrats are rejoicing over theirs. They're growing even stronger in their opposition against Trump. And Trump's base, his most, fanatical supporters are supporting him even more. But there is the probability that he could lose some supporters when it comes down to it, just because he is being accused of all these things. So that could possibly change the mind of a lot of people. Of course, you could just imagine yourself. Imagine if you were indicted 4 times. Imagine if the government was accusing you of all of these things. Your neighbors might actually start to grow suspicious, even though they might not be quite sure. But yeah, guys, again, I don't think, I'm not a Trump supporter. I'm not a Biden supporter. I think they're both corrupt. You have to reap what you sow in this life. And even though there is corruption in both parties and in the U.S. government, eventually, you're going to have to give account of the way you have treated others. And Donald Trump is no exception to this. Do I think, this is all just political in nature, right? They're trying to damage his campaign. Obviously, this is politics, guys. Politics is just a tool, a way of going to war against an opponent without actually physically fighting, right? That's politics. Politics was literally invented to keep us from killing each other, right? Because of a difference of opinion. So it's the closest thing to going to war without actually, throwing punches, right? Or firing at each other. So these people, this is serious, right? I mean, this is the government right now that is going after Trump. And, there's still quite a times away. We're still quite a ways off from the 2024 elections. That's not until next year in November. So this is only going to grow stronger. And to be honest, just politically looking at it, I think the Democrats are winning in this war, in this political war. The Republicans just don't seem to know how to go on the offensive. Even when Trump was in office, even when they had their candidate in the Oval Office, they didn't really know how to go on the offensive. The Democrats even then, impeached Trump twice, and they made this whole charade where they pretty much took away his ability to, carry out his presidential agenda because they had him, worried and preoccupied with the impeachments, which again failed in the House. In Congress, because Donald Trump, again, does have his supporters, right, the Republicans. But ever since then, the Democrats continue to go on the offensive, and the Republicans just don't seem to know how to do the same. And to be honest, I just don't see Donald Trump being elected in 2024. I don't think he's going to, win any more supporters because of this. His base will probably remain the same. But if anything, all these accusations and all these things are only going to tire him. And I think he could lose supporters, especially with other candidates like DeSantis running for the office. That's only going to take away even if a small amount of his supporters, which could end up affecting him in the end. So I'm not saying Joe Biden is going to win either. I think there might be a new candidate. But yeah, things are at a boiling point. The U.S. is in shambles right now, not only politically, but that's also trickling down societally, right? You see all these riots, all these looting. The economy is in shambles. And so things are not looking good. We'll see how long Donald Trump can hold off. He's been doing this his whole life. He's been in the courts. If you look into his history, you will realize that. But yeah, these are a lot of accusations that are being thrown at him. And, I see it difficult for him to get out of all of them. At the very least, I think this is, again, going to directly impact his campaign, which will directly impact his chances at actually winning the presidency. But I just don't see it happening. Again, if Donald Trump actually believes that he lost the 2020 election, just think of what he's implying. He's implying that literally the Supreme Court, Congress, pretty much all the institutions of the U.S. are corrupt, right? And he actually put some of those Supreme Court justices into their positions, and they didn't support him, right? When he tried to take all his court cases to the Supreme Court, they pretty much told him that they would not hear it. And so essentially, he's pretty much saying that the whole system is corrupt. So how would he expect to win in 2024 when the whole system is against him, right? When all of these institutions are against him, and now they're actually trying to put him in jail. So I just don't see it happening. But yeah, we're just going to have to wait and see. I think we could have some, crazy event take place as we head into 2024. Some clashes between the supporters of both parties. And it's a pretty wild time right now for the U.S., and the international community has to be looking at this, just marveling at what is taking place right now. But anyways, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Let me know what you think is going to happen. I'll see you guys in the next video. Remember, the truth is stranger than fiction. Have a wonderful day, and God bless.